Racing the Baja 1000 solo was definitely something in the top of my bucket list. Some people ask me, are you sure you want to do this solo? Isn't it a lot for one person to take in? If something happens out there, I'm in the middle of nowhere, civilization is so far away, and you just keep your fingers crossed that everything's gonna happen the way you want it to. I grew up racing BMX. My dad has a background racing BMX and motocross and Bajas and everything, and being our backyard, all of Baja, and him having so much experience with it, well, I kind of grew up racing and around all of this environment.
He always was stoked about going to the Baja since he was a little kid, very little. I'm talking about when he was around 2 or 3 years old. I used to take him there with me with all my big buddies and everybody, no other kids though. And he was like the kid to watch for, you know.
Obviously Baja was something always that I had to go see, and I skipped school for it, and it was my holiday.
When I first met Josear and his dad a couple years ago, they were doing a training camp for kids, so I got involved because of the love of motorcycles and off-roading. I kind of got attached to them, and at the time I had a bunch of sponsors, so I kind of shared that sponsorship with them, and since then it's grown over the years.
Do it right. Just living life, I say.
The pre-run is when you get to go to the track and test it out. They usually open up the track for pre-running about a month before the race, and the map comes out. There's course notes and GPS files, which the trucks get to use mostly. I had some problems. I ate it pretty bad. I got the throttle got stuck, and it kind of seemed like it was a wheelie, and I was trying to go for it, and then I keep looking at the bike, and it just stuck, and the bike keeps going up, throttle is stuck, and next thing you know, I'm tumbling in the floor, and this spectators that were just happening to watch during the pre-run show up to me, and they're like, I thought they were gonna ask me if I was okay, and they come to me all worried saying, man, I wish we would have had our camera. And I was like, well, I'm okay, no worry.
And one of the things that I love, and I don't see this happening any other where in the world, is off-roading is it's like an icon, like a landmark. And especially when you go to places like Mama Espinosa's, for example, that it's all full of pictures and, you know, memorabilia, what they call off-road racing.
So we just did some pre-running, or the little section of the whoops. We're in San Matias, and the whoops are getting deep. They're gnarly, but they're fun. Luckily, they're not a lot like usually you get into San Felipe and it's all the power line. You just get a little bit, but it's fine. Bike's working great, and we're ready, getting ready for the race.
Ironman is the true heart of Baja. You know, I talked with Alexander Smith, who's won this before, and I said, Alexander, how do you get ready for this? And he says, you can't.
And they asked him, what does it take how long you've been preparing for this race? Definitely his answer was not 2-3 months. It says, I've been training all my life for this.
If I race it by myself, it's gonna be blamed on me, myself, and I. So if something happens, it's all because of me.
The only big thing is he has never ever in his life ridden over, I don't know, 20, 24, 30 hours. I don't know how this long it's gonna take. It's 850 miles through one of the toughest terrains. We saw the map, and score pull-up, really, really difficult thing. He was around 2-3 years old. He dropped the bike, you know, he went into a trench and fell off the bike, and he was like, help me. I said, no way, you know, it's you want to race the Baja one day, you're going to be on your own, and you're going to be able to pick up that bike.
Josear since he was a little kid, and to watch him get ready and the commitment and knowing that everybody that's behind him, and when you're a rider, you're out there, you don't fear for yourself, you don't fear for crashing, you don't fear for dying, you fear for letting everybody down.
There was no turning back. There was a lot of people behind me supporting me in this, and couldn't let them down. It's not about how fast you are, it's not about how tall, how good of a motorcycle, it's how smart you are. And if you're smart, you can do this. Once we got to the part where it was starting to get, the sun was going out, I knew I just had to like pace myself, because I didn't have any of the big lights that all the other teams had. Didn't have a stabilizer, and the worst part of it is I hadn't pre-ran that section. We did like a 15-20 minute pit where I just made sure that lights were on correctly. I had a jacket for the nighttime because it got really cold. And as soon as we took off, it was like, it's game time, let's do it. When I got lost at night, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking around and I'm a little scared, I look over and there's a guy with a flashlight. I'm like, ah, finally, hey, I'm over here. I'm lost, where I'm looking for the track, and he keeps going like this with the flashlight, and I'm thinking I'm talking to him, and he's doing the flashlight, and then I don't see the flashlight. I'm like, oh, I'm here, and I start flashing my light on and off, and then I see the flashlight again, and the flashlight keeps getting bigger, and it was like maybe 3 minutes that seemed like an hour for me, but the flashlight kept getting bigger, and next thing you know, it's a trophy truck that was coming from way far behind.
Ever feel more exposed and more alive than you do when you're riding a motorcycle at night? Because when I rode on different teams, I remember 2 different feelings. One was I just had a feeling like there's a trophy truck or something coming up behind me. And then I would look behind me and I would see light. I'm like, oh crap, here they come. I didn't know if that was worse, or looking back and seeing complete darkness and not seeing anything. Any light as far as I could see, just complete darkness and stars in the sky. And then all of a sudden I had that realization, shit, if I fall down, who's gonna come, who's gonna find me?
One of the sections I was going on the right way on the track, but I couldn't see any markers, so I stopped, turned around, I went like 2 miles back, and here comes this motorcycle line, and I stopped, and I'm like, hey, are you sure we're going the right way? I haven't pre-run this section. He says, yeah, turn around, follow me, I'll tell you where to go. Sure enough, it was someone from my class, but it ended up being a huge help. wife is wearing like 2 sweaters, and on top of that she's wearing a big fluffy jacket, and it's a snow jacket, and she's still like shivering cold. And she asked me before I go on my last section, she goes like, "Are you okay? Do you need anything else? It looks like you're cold." And I'm like shivering too, and I go like, "I need your jacket."
We met Josear at one of his pit stops, and it was freezing outside. In the car we were shivering even with the heat on. The windows were ice, and he pulled up and we just saw him so cold and knew that he needed an extra sweater. And so the sweater that I had been wearing, we put on under his.
You're just a little liar. I'm trapped in a strait. The reason of knowing why. You're just a little liar.
You know, I get a flash on my Stella. It's a blue flash, and I look behind my shoulder, and I'm like, oh, there's Josear, you know, he's wanting to pass. So I was gonna let him pass, and I don't know what I did. I just pulled over, but I pulled over to the wrong side. And his rate of closure came up and ended up clipping. And we both went down, and we had a friendly conversation on the side of the road. I was like, oh, you all right? Yeah, you okay? No problems, okay. Go ahead, you're faster through the sections.
Don't indicate it's strong if I'm at your place for a night. A vicious way.
I didn't like the way he looked. He was just like already, you know, frozen, I would say, but he can still ride. It was funny, he was like wobbling, you know, with staying up and everything. But once, you know, he threw that leg on the bike again, he transformed. It was impressive.
Now try to behave.
So close to the finish line, you can smell it. You start seeing everybody that's like still there from the night before, and all that's in your head is finish, 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 and you gotta do this.
When I was in the finish line waiting for Josear, it was nerve-wracking. I was so nervous. There was a mix of emotions.
You did, Jose. You're all the way here. You want to give a shout out to your whole team. I see all your sponsorship, the Honda, Ivan Stewart Motorsports. Tell me about the people that helped you back you and get here.
It's a number of people that have supported me all along the way, especially Beverly Burgers, my wife, my family, my dad, whole crew, family, friends, and a whole bunch of sponsors that made this possible.
There's no better feeling than holding this. Thank you, Jose.
No one can totally understand it until you're out there by yourself. And when you do that, and you make it through, it's, God, I'm sitting there crying like a baby, but it's unbelievable. And so I'm so proud of you. You're there, and I'm just grateful that he made it.
I take a breath, don't lose my time with falseness. Take it easy, don't waste my strength. I keep my mind out of those kinky waves. I keep the light.
Oh, last night was an adventure. It was crazy. We went in this riverbed and looking for Jose. And it beep, Armando, being a dog.
He said, you know what I love about Baja is the bells that are really loud that fuck up my shot. We're almost there. Not yet.